Friends, now it's 52nd day of war. Of course, lots have changed since the war started. Russian military entered into Ukraine and the name was given Special Military Operations with some aims which we have been talking about. But now the situation has changed since then quite a lot. Despite massive destruction of Ukrainian military, its air force, its naval bases, whatever it had, and its arms of nations that includes even tanks, RT batteries, etc. It still is resisting and resisting with full power. Yesterday, Russia warned USA and allies that if you continue giving support to Ukraine army materially, that means you keep supplying weapons to them, the repercussions will be bad. What repercussions, that is to be seen, but that will continue. The Ukrainian media published showing two top ranking officers on British Special Forces in Ukraine giving training to Ukrainian military in how to use anti-aircraft and anti-tanks missiles. When the Western media approached British Army, there were no reply. The so-called 10 to 20,000 or even probably will be more, the mercenaries or volunteers, who are they? We have been talking about them. They are nothing but trained military personnel by NATO and USA, UK. Therefore, as we can infer safely that Russia is not fighting alone, it is fighting against Ukraine plus 30 other NATO and allied countries, army, and all forms of aids are coming except direct participation. The trained personnel are coming in any case, that we have seen. Earlier also, now also, like many of them being stuck in Mariupol, and there was desperate attempt to evacuate them, but they failed. Some of them might have been even evacuated, which we are not aware. So we know that there is direct, indirect interference by Washington and its allies. And Washington is jumping on other countries, including even against China, that you dare not help Russia. Well, that is their policy. Absolutely rabid imperialist forces of 21st century. Well, yesterday one Moskva warship, Russian this thing, a huge one, was hit by Ukrainian army with the help of missile, and it finally sunk. This is the second big one. The smaller ones might have been earlier also. Many Russian aircraft and missiles have been destroyed. And not 100 but thousands of Russian troops have been killed. How many now, I do not have data at present, but the numbers are alarming. Not that the Ukrainians haven't suffered, but then balance of forces, even though it may be tilted towards Russians, but it is not overwhelming balance. The balance of power is bit tilted. And only safely we can say that, nothing more than that. In the meantime, US base in Syria was attacked. US is trying to say that it is not external forces, internally something has happened and few of its soldiers were wounded. But then what the hell the American soldiers doing in Syria? Has Syrian government asked them to come in? Or is there any other country which is opposing and raising questions, hue and cry in UNO, why Americans have entered there? They know such questions. Anyway, that is to be seen. Yesterday we talked in a small video that Russian military is almost ready, despite all the odds against it and all positive whatever it has. it has regrouped itself, repositioned itself to continue a big attack in Eastern Europe, that is Donbass. Whatever help it has with the LPR, DPR, Chechens, they are part of, you can say safely at this moment, Russian military. That includes Russian naval forces, that includes its army, that includes its air force, and other forces and other things, whatever it has. Yes, Russia lacks number of troops, trained number of troops, despite its claim earlier that Russia too is getting volunteers from Syria and elsewhere. But this talk was initially nothing more than that. Even Afghan troops or militants are joining Americans. They had defected a large number and went to USA and even in adjacent other countries. They all coming to Ukraine to fight with Ukrainians. Well, after this war, whatever happens, expected that before the victory day, that is 9th May or mid-May, the war will come to end, maybe one-sided. Third world is war or not, that is leaving to your own perception. Nuclear war, that's a big question, doesn't look like even at this moment, but if Russia has threatened and it is not denying when it comes to its existence threat, existential threat, that means its basic existence is under question, it will use nuclear power. Using nuclear power does not mean, friends, that entire globe will be destroyed. No. But the major cities, wherever it hits, that of Russia, that of USA, that of Europe, even UK, and other countries who are part and parcel of this NATO and otherwise, they will be hit. There are sufficient number of arsenal as far as nuclear warheads are concerned with Russia, the second largest one after USA. What will happen to China, we don't know. Will NATO try to pull China in this? China is very smart in this. It will not. India is out of this. Other small countries, like Pakistan, they are intelligent enough not to participate into this. Another big question to you I am posing, after this massive destruction, whether nuclear war is used or not, will imperialism do harakiri or will imperialism come to an end? No, friends, it will not. Even if, let's say, the classical Third World War takes place, it will not. It will sustain itself. To destroy imperialism, capitalist imperialism, a conscious effort has to be done by the working class, the working people, the working masses and its allies world over, in independent, separate countries and finally globally. That's a different question. Thank you, friends.